Welcome all back to Ancient Wars. If you missed the last episode, the Roman Empire under Julius Caesar was able to conquer ancient China and Sun Tzu. In this episode, we will be tackling the winner of their fight, ancient Egypt, and they will be battling the Macedonian Empire under the great Alexander. For why this is happening, each army will be technically brought back from the afterlife to show this world their military might. However, with some weird magic, each leader and army was brought back as stickmen and tabs, or totally accurate battle simulator, leading to an interesting clash of physics and strategy. Again, let's check on the bracket to see the possible projection. Again, the Roman Empire was able to take out ancient China, and now we are on to ancient Egypt versus Macedonian Empire, who are again fighting for a spot in the finale. So, with all that being said, let's head into tabs and let's see who's going to advance. Alrighty, welcome to tabs. Welcome to the battlefield. The first battle is going to be just straight in the open. Both of which form a pretty similar positions, having a front, middle, left, and right. I guess we'll check out the Macedonian Empire using their fan-lax position, what they commonly use. Again, I just think these spears are comical and how long they truly were. I had to kind of throw the two of those in. I would put them here, but it made it a bit questionable with once they started swinging. But yeah, that's pretty typical for their middle to be the fan-lax position followed by light infantry. And again, they would use cavalry. It's just I don't like using it just because it's super buggy in this game. However, the right side over here would normally be cavalry. And again, that would just be help take out the flank and kind of take out this main side to help the fan-lax position and the people behind Russian. Again, it's just makes it very hard in this game. And then the left side, almost kind of similar depending, but normally it would just be heavy infantry over here just to help protect the flank. But for ancient Egypt, I'm sorry. Again, very similar with their archers, focusing on their archers, and then their infantry is again shields, swords, stuff like that. Again, pikes over here, and then on this other side, again, swords and more swords. Again, a big focus on archers at ancient Egypt was large for them. Really focus on their bows and arrows. However, let's learn a little bit of the Macedonian Empire since we've not known anything about them, so let's get into it. So first, let's look at Alexander the Great's accomplishments. To sum up what Alexander the Great did, he conquered the eastern Mediterranean, Egypt, the Middle East, and parts of Asia in a ridiculously short period of time. By doing this, he destroyed the ancient Persian Empire, which was a dominant power in the known world at the time. He also ushered in a great age of cultural exchanges since he conquered so many places. To accomplish all this, he did in such a short period of time, he needed a great army and great strategies. He took great responsibility in creating a powerful and comfortable army. He would enforce common tactics we see today, such as wearing a uniform, playing competitive games, swearing of an oath, and complex and long training programs to ensure stamina and compliance. Again, I think this was a really big thing that Alexander did, a lot of which we still see today. Uniforms makes you feel like you're a part of something, which will normally make you feel like you want to see that something do well and succeed. So it kind of is another driving force. And another big thing is like defensive games, military games. You see that a lot today. It's a great training practice, and it's also more enjoyable for the units to actually do like a training practice, since it's more like simulating real fighting. And it's kind of a fun experience that also gives great hand-on-hand learning experience, which is, I think, really smart what he did. And another thing, an oath, swearing under oath, I think is really huge, and it just makes you feel like you need to perform and need to do well. So again, it's another driving force for his army. Alexander took lots of time handpicking and training his officers. He also made sure that an individual should be capable of performing the next man up in the command structure, creating a flexible strategy on the battlefield. Alexander's campaigns were many and various, giving him experience in every form of battle offered from the ancient world. He had different troop types, being the heavy infantry, hypapists, and cavalry. Bupists were the most worked and most capable troops. These men were more lightly armed and better trained, equipped with similar weapons to other troops, mostly carrying a spear or a sarissa. For the heavy infantry, they used similar weapons like a spear or a sarissa. However, only the front ranks of the heavy infantry wore any armor. Heavy infantry also had the title of, Peshitori, or foot companions, which is kind of a nice way of saying cannon fodder, but it made them feel better that they had a name in the army, and it made them felt like they had more of a place instead of feeling like you're definitely going to die. So that's kind of nice. They normally assumed phalanx position is what we see here. It is believed that at the height of the army there were between 120,000 frontline troops. Finally, the most important part of Alexander's army was the cavalry, meant to provide main strike force and make breakthroughs. There are two types of cavalry, the prodromi and the companion cavalry. The prodromi were the scouts of the army, who were quite flexible and had the abilities to fight, being about 5,000 strong, while the companion cavalry was around 1,800 strong. The goal was to fight alongside and protect its troops. They were a special division for protecting the king while he was on horseback as well, while other types of cavalry deployed through the time and gained new honor. These were the main areas of the cavalry. Alexander was known and was a knowledgeable and powerful general, hiring other knowledgeable generals to work alongside him. He often trained these generals to work without him and trust them to lead battles. But Alexander still held the line with the biggest battles and would normally alter the plan and battlefield to give him an advantage. As talked about, he also had a leadership role where others could take the next person's spot, so there was never much panic among the enemy, the army, which was really smart to have everyone always be trained to assume a higher position. So it kind of gives a very flexible schedule, especially in war where you never know what's going to happen. But let's look at a notable battle and see his battle skills at work. I will look at the Battle of Issus, Issus, which was the first direct encounter between Alexander and Darius. Alexander was heading towards Issus to intercept the Persian king, while Darius was in the hunt for the Macedonian army. Darius would soon catch Alexander. While Alexander was outnumbered, it did not shy him away from the fight. On the left was a set of cavalry and troops to create a defensive action, with the heavy infantry being deployed at the center, while they always were. To the right were the Hypaspes. That word is always going to get me. He would later send more cavalry over to the right side to help distribute his troops better. While Darius tried to outflank Alexander whenever he could, Alexander's ability to read the battlefield and adjust his troops made attempting these things obsolete. The battle was fierce and bloody, but Alexander managed his troops and the environment better and went away with the win, causing Darius to retreat. This battle shows his great battle skills to maneuver the army and obtain a win even when caught off guard and being down men. For this reason is why Alexander would go on to win the war over the Persian Empire. Alexander was also a fearless and tireless leader. He knew he had to keep the army healthy. He always had troop conservation in mind and did not lose more troops than he had to. He would also incorporate local troops or foreign troops in his armies. Incorporating their strengths with the discipline that Macedonian troops had created an effective army. He would also give troops breaks, sending them back to rest and spend time with their friends and family. Doing so, and through talk, led more people wanting to join the army since Alexander was winning battles, and as a guy wearing in the army and fighting battles is pretty cool. And when you have people boasting about being a soldier and the cool stuff they do, they're going it's going to make other men want to come and join, which is kind of pretty smart. I don't think Alexander had that exact idea when he sent troops home, but it did kind of help increase in numbers because people would talk about it, and if you're a very successful general and you win a lot, it will also make people feel better about joining the army. He would also be smart where he kind of positioned himself. If he always kind of made sure he was by or tried to be by a sea, a river, or something like that. So one, he could get supplies in and out, and two, if he needed to, he could kind of transport troops much easier, having access to the water. And just being a smart and cautious general, having his troops' lives and bodies in mind, never making sure to overwork them, since he knew that people are strongest when they aren't tired. he was very smart, cautious general, and it was very impressive to see all of that coming from someone that was pretty young, and I mean, just kind of got thrown into this position and just absolutely succeeded in the short period of time he was king. With all that being said, let's move back on over to ancient Egypt and learn a little bit more about them. All right, and let's learn. I was doing a little bit of catch up on the Macedonian Empire since they got the bye week, so I want to catch up on what we already know about ancient Egypt. So with that being said, let's learn some new things. I want to go over, learn about the military advancements, the impact the general had on shaping the future of the empire, overview of the expansion efforts, and talk about the hierarchical structure of the army. Thutmose would expand the use of infantry and archers in his army, allowing for more versatility during the battle. He would also use chariot warfare to the best of his abilities, using chariots to flank other armies and attempting to disrupt enemy lines before infantry would engage. He also thought ahead to be as close to supply chains as possible, making sure his army was always properly sustained. Very similar to what Alexander the Great did. Again, I feel like this is a very big thing that great generals do and think actually about the army and not just themselves. They always think about, they need food, they need water, they need to rest. I think it's a very cool thing that a lot of these great generals did, was thinking about these things. Thutmose III's military campaigns would shape the empire for years to come. Thutmose III would engage in 17 major military campaigns, adding lots of territory to ancient Egypt, which helped expand ancient Egypt's territorial reach into Levant, Syria, and Nubia. These conquests include the Battle of Kadesh and Megiddo, and the expansion into Nubia and the Sinai Peninsula. This would help him secure crucial trade routes and access to valuable resources, creating more wealth for the empire. These conquests had expanded Egypt's holdings beyond any of their predecessors and made the country wealthier than it had been since the beginning of the fourth dynasty of the Old Kingdom. These conquests would also help shape Egypt's status as a dominant power and increase their economy through war, which will continue on to after Thutmose III passed away, showing his strong foundation he created. Finally, let's look at the hierarchical structure of the army. The Egyptian army under Thutmose III operated within a hierarchical structure typical of ancient civilizations. At the top was normally the pharaoh, who served as obviously the commander of all the troops. Beneath him were high-ranking nobles and officials who held command positions, such as generals and viziers. The army itself was divided into several branches, including infantry, chariots, and naval forces. Within each branch, soldiers were organized into units led by officers of varying ranks, such as captains. Military ranks and positions were often hereditary or granted based on merit and loyalty to the pharaoh, which again is another thing I think a lot of armies do, which again just kind of gives people a drive to work hard, since they could possibly work their way up, and obviously that comes with more pay and a less risky position, which is always nice for people that value their lives, which should hopefully be most of them. I think another crucial thing for success in the military is the idea of promotion, as just talked about. It's just I think one of the greatest things, because everyone wants to work something in jobs nowadays. Promotions are what drives a lot of people to keep moving forward. All that being said, let's actually get into the battle. Again, I personally think that the Macedonian Empire is probably at a more advantage. I think their technology, their armor, their weapons are a little bit better. However, it's only one way to find out, and let's get into it. Where's my mouse? There she is. All right. Let's see these. I want to actually focus in on here because these giant spears are awesome. Again, just immediately tackles in. I mean, ancient Egypt does a great job of just absolutely pushing through the front lines, though. And the flank on the left side also looks like it's successful. Shielded archers coming in front, and then the less protected army coming in the back to hopefully take them all out. I think they're even on the left side over here, the more defensive distance protecting against any flanks. They're doing well. Ancient Egypt archers are putting in work, it seems. I saw last time that they were quite insane. Again, these huge why am I blanking? Habits are just insane. I mean, I cannot, one, imagine wielding it, and two, imagine successfully wielding it. But they are doing the best they can. Again, they are just putting in the range work. And again, looks like the right side successfully took them over and are starting their flank to get into those archers. Again, actually, almost a tie on the, I guess technically this is the left side. But again, it looks like the Macedonian Empire definitely has an advantage here. We will see what will happen. Oh my golly, that dude just got wrecked by that spear. That thing is incredible. Alright, they're all just charging in. Oh, the arrows from the Macedonian Empire are doing way better. Okay, I guess that could be a downside. But again, it looks like the Macedonian Empire will take out ancient Egypt, which is kind of expected. Again, large army. I think just a little bit better. Oh yeah, and that will be it. Again, I guess it was decently close. I mean, there's not that many foot soldiers left, and again, once you get through them, the archers are pretty open. But I think both sides did a decent job. Ancient Egypt didn't put in as good of a showing as they did. However, I think they still played solid. Again, like these big spears really just do a lot for that ranged damage. And yeah, let's I guess hop into fight 2. We'll see if ancient Egypt can pull away. If not, Macedonia will prevail into the finals. Alright, let's get into the second battle here. Switching up the scenery a little bit. Excuse me, going a little bit more of a little bit larger of an area. A bit of a town, tree covers, buildings, all of which you gotta plan to do when you're actually fighting. Very similar setup to what Alexander had the first time. Again, this phalanx position up front, along with unarmored and just, I guess, like the peasants-ish of the group in the back. And then Alexander himself decided to come out and join his army like he normally would. Followed by this, just a little bit of a backup group along with some archers. I think there's a bit of a flank over here trying to push forward. And then the typical flank to the right side, which again, I think this would technically, or left side depending where you look at it, this would be cavalry normally. It's just, again, physics are weird. And then a similar thing to the left side, archers, and then just a similar formation in the back, hopefully trying to push out and kind of take out this little bit of this hidden group here from ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt also kind of very similar, relying heavily on their archers, putting them high positions. However, they still have kind of a bit more of a defensive position over here, which might help them. Again, a little bit of a flank because I do not think Macedonian knows they're here. I will delete him. I don't know how he got there. But I was climbing to look for some stuff. And then the middle ground here, again, just soldiers with shields to help protect against the incoming. And then I think, again, just like last time, they got an Anubis, which I don't know who's got the connection, but he is just popping out of nowhere. So Anubis versus Alexander the Great himself in this battle. But let's get it on. And actually, sorry, I almost forgot to talk about him. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about Alexander the Great real quick before we get into the battle. So what gave Macedonian Empire an edge over others? Alexander's army employed a combination of infantry, cavalry, and siege warfare techniques, creating a versatile and formidable force. He utilized the famous Macedonian phalanx position, a tightly packed formation of infantry armored with long spears called Saracis, that's what it was called, which provide both offensive and defensive capabilities. This formation gave him a large edge over his enemies since it was very hard to break the formation. Just like Thutmose, Alexander recognized the importance and need for cavalry. He would developed a highly effective cavalry force known as the companion cavalry, which I talked about a little bit earlier. These horsemen were like cavalry units, like the Thessalian cavalry played a crucial role in his swift and decisive conquest, executing flank maneuvers and pursuing routed enemies. Also like Thutmose, Alexander was extremely flexible and adaptive on the battlefield. He encouraged creativity and innovation among his commanders, allowing them to make tactical decisions based on the situation at hand rather than adhering to a predetermined plan. So there's definitely a theme for a successful commander. Again, having that flexibility on the battlefield seems to be a very important driving strategy for what makes people successful. Alexander's conquest had a profound and enduring impact on the Macedonian Empire. His military campaigns resulted in the largest empire the ancient world has ever seen, stretching from Greece to Egypt and reaching as far east as India. In just over a decade, he conquered the Persian Empire, Egypt, and part of Asia, establishing a vast empire that spanned 3 continents. His conquests were marked by strategic brilliance, unparalleled military skill, and earning him the name Alexander the Great. Alexander's conquest facilitated the spread of Greek culture and their civilization throughout the known world, shaping the course of history for centuries to come. Along with having the largest area, it also became one of the richest. He gained immense amounts of wealth through his many campaigns. The Persian area especially was already one of the richest, having gold, silver, precious gems, and fertile land. It only created a more wealthy empire, considering he also gained more wealth from other places. And then he didn't make the empire rich in money only. He also helped expand the cultural and intellectual wealth. His empire became a melting pot for diverse cultures and traditions. This would also help lead to the exchange of ideas by being a great command. He ushered in a great empire, which was one of the richest and the largest. Unfortunately, his early passing would be the downfall of the empire, but if Alexander moves on, we will hear more about his unfortunate downfall. Finally, let's talk about the hierarchical, that stupid word, structure of the army under Alexander the Great. The Macedonian army operated within a hierarchical structure that reflected the social or societal hierarchy of the Macedonian Empire. At the pinnacle was Alexander himself, who served as commander of the armed forces and wielded absolute authority over his troops. Beneath Alexander were high-ranking officers and commanders, including his trusted generals and companions, such as, these names are going to be butchered, Parmenion, Hephaestion, and Ptolemy. These officers led various divisions of the army, including infantry, cavalry, and specialized units. The army itself was organized into units of varying size, from small tactical formations to larger divisions, each led by officers of appropriate rank. Soldiers were typically drawn from the Macedonian nobility and trained rigorously from a young age in skills and military discipline. So again, he just always had very strong soldiers to work with him, and then when you combine that with a great, being a great general, it obviously leads to a very successful few years. Like a decade conquering as much as he did is absolutely insane. So with all that being said, let's see if he can actually scratch out another win and move on to add to it, I guess, his insane amount he already has. But let's get it going. Where's the play button? All right, again, we're gonna head into this middle because I like seeing these big spears at work, or the sarissas. Again, I probably already said that name wrong. All right, let's see. Again, just charges in, just keeps them back. I think Anubis will definitely play a big part. Again, Alexander the Great also just flying in as well and killing his own soldiers again. I don't think that was part of the plan. But again, this big area, but those large spears doing a great job. Let's check out, I mean, the flank did not, those archers are in great shape to take out those Macedonian soldiers. Ancient Egypt, again, seems like they're in a great spot with the archers on top. Even over here, again, it just seems like a big clash. Let's take a look over at this left side. Again, same thing. Ooh, Macedonian archers are probably doing insane amounts of work. Hugging that corner, sniping everybody. But again, where is Anubis? Oh, there he is. Still not taken out. He's got to be doing a lot. Oh, yeah. A lot. Again, the archers are staying on top of the roofs. Definitely in the better defensive position. Again, just an insane amount. Okay, Anubis just took a hit. Oh, that did not stop him from doing anything fun though. Oh, it looks like over here the Macedonian Empire got taken out. Those archers have been doing absolutely immense amounts of damage for the army, or for the ancient Egypt. Let's take a look. Oh, on this side though, Macedonia seems to be on top, but a little bit less. Again, the last little bit, Alexander. Yeah, where is Alexander? Is he dead? He might be out. Again, that's not good with Anubis still alive. Alexander was probably a big reason to be taken out. Again, it looks like ancient Egypt is definitely on top here, which is a much needed win for them. I don't know what these guys are doing. They're just talking about. Again, that one archer is definitely not going to cut it. Oh, it looks like the Macedonian might be taken out. Again, just a better defensive position. Oh yeah, I don't think those few soldiers are doing much. And that would be it. Ancient Egypt goes on and wins, pushing this to a third round. So let's get it set up and see who's going to take the final spot. Alrighty, let's head into the final little scrimmage here. Again, roles reverse as the Macedonian Empire will be defending what looks like one of their cities, taking a very defensive position. Again, ancient Egypt. With a little scrimmage, I would make it a little bit larger, but again, I don't want this last fight to be too long. So again, just very similar to what they were doing, only two little armies, a lot of archers in the back. But the defensive position, let's see if it makes a difference. Again, this seems to be what the Phalanx Expedition specializes in, so we will see if that does change anything. But let's start this battle. Let's get this going. Alright, I especially want to see how this plays out with the long spears in the back. Again, those shields hopefully protecting the brunt of the first impacts. And those archers just absolutely going to be putting in work here. Again, not being able to carry shields when the shields go out. Again, they're very vulnerable to bow and arrow. So again, which is not good. However, they seem to be doing a good job of keep pushing them back. The Macedonian Empire over here just dominating whatever ground troops were there. Again, the defensive position seems to be doing a lot. Again, just absolutely annihilating. There's not going to be able to do anything about that immense amount of troops. And again, they're doing actually, wow, Ancient Egypt did a great job of taking him down. Again, if it wasn't for the defensive position off on this left side being compromised, they'd be in a great spot right now. And I guess there's also a lot of archers pushing in. But it is not looking good. I will keep this going at real speed as we see what's going to finally happen. Again, the archers doing whatever they can. I think they would normally run away, but I don't think they have opportunity. And no. Oh yeah, he's in mini defeat. And that will be it. Macedonia and Alexander the Great move on to the finals. And in that, we will see who will be facing each other in the finals with them in the next episode. So thank you all who is watching, and I hope you have a good night.